Why Matisse?
I mean,
Okay, yeah, she's pretty. So what? She doesn't like you. I mean, there are a ton of pretty girls that would love to go out with you.
well, she's really smart.
Yeah, we know that from the fact that she won't go out with you.
Oh, correction. She's not gone out with me yet. I made eye contact with her at the game. I think I'm really starting to wear her down.
You know what wore me down? This movie.
Hey, Val.
Hey, Al.
Welcome to D-Commentaries.
Thank you. Welcome to you and welcome to our listeners. Today, we're talking about Den Brother.
Yeah, we are. We are talking about, Val.
But, okay, here's the thing. First of all, hi, everybody. We're back from our extra long hiatus.
It was about a month longer than we expected.
Yes.
But we both needed a summer vacation. We hope that you did too from our voices.
That's right. Yeah, as I think we mentioned before we left, I moved in July and it was a very chaotic couple weeks. I don't recommend moving with an infant.
Won't. Thank you, Val.
Yeah, I know. We don't have to worry about Al doing that. So it's been, I mean, we're still not like fully settled, but at least we're functional. And then I had a couple trips and then Al went to D23.
I sure as shit did, Val. Explicit. Den brother. Explicit. Yeah, and I think it would be fun to just do maybe a little breakdown of our summers.
Sure. I mean, I just basically
cool.
did one of mine. So
yeah, but how was moving? Where did you go? I don't want to talk too much about D23 and not give you your time to shine as well.
Oh, please. Okay, so we moved from one neighborhood in Chicago to another neighborhood in Chicago. Okay. We moved to the northwest edge of the city. We needed a house because our baby needs her own room. She was sleeping in the hallway.
If you guys have ever seen Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, they needed a house because Val blew up her kid and it's like a huge just like kid that like needs a big house.
That's right.
So just to put it into perspective for everyone.
I'm constantly trying to get a giant baby to not have a tantrum. Just like in that movie.
Is that the one that the like Pillsbury Doughboys in it too?
Maybe. I honestly can't
we got to do
anything.
a have you seen.
I know. I can't remember anything except the baby like almost having a tantrum and then them like calming it down somehow. And I can't even remember how to do it.
We'll have to watch that whole series.
Yes, for sure. I love those. But anyway, yes. So we moved to a bigger house, which was, I mean, necessary, and it's a great house. We love it. However, I had lived in the same place for almost 13 years. So It was a lot of like sifting through, things that I hadn't even known I still had. Plus, like my parents recently downsized. So like they had a whole storage unit full of stuff that we had to go through. So our garage is still very much full of boxes. But my goal has been do one thing a day and not beat myself up if I don't do anything more than that. So whether it's unpack one box or put a piece of furniture together or find a place for something, whatever it is, that's good enough. And like,
good.
I did get my baby's room. Alice's room is completely done.
Nice.
And that's really nice and fun.
What's the theme, Val?
It's under the sea.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's this crinkle book. I don't know if people who aren't parents are familiar, but they have these books that like make crinkle noise because babies like that.
Us non-parents know what a crinkle book is.
Yeah, so we got this book for her, like, right when she was born, because my whole family, we are very water oriented people. I'm sure I've mentioned before that I've scuba dived, I sailed, I was the waterfront director at my camp.
You're friends with me. I'm a Cancer.
That's right. Exactly. You get it. So I bought this book for her just thinking like, oh, it's cute. It's, it's who do you see under the sea? That's this book. This child has been obsessed with this book since she was like 2 months old. Like every time she sees it, it makes her smile. She loves reading it. She can read it multiple times. If she's like losing her shit, if we bring this book out, she immediately stops crying. Like it is her favorite thing in the world.
Wow.
So when we knew we were moving, I was like, okay, well, we have to make her room under the sea themed because she loves this thing. So that's what we did. So her room is under the sea and it's very cute. And she has a little bookshelf and all of Michael's and my old stuffies are now in her room.
Nice.
And yeah. So she has a very nice space. And
what's the theme of your room, Val?
King bed.
Cool. Yeah.
Finally, it could fit a king bed in my room. And we have a deck off of our bedroom, which is really cool.
Wow. Yep. So the theme is king bed sitting outside.
That's right. Not at the same time. But
or at the same time.
Or at the same time, sure. Camp out on the deck in the king bed. Yeah. No, but the house is great. And my mother-in-law has moved in with us to help take care
Linda,
of Alice.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the pod, sometime listener of the pod, which has been amazing. Alice is obsessed with her. It's so adorable. So that's been lovely. And Michael mows the lawn now, which is cute.
Dad.
Yeah, dad. And it's great. I can't wait for us to have like furniture and like be able to have people over.
Good. And everyone, I have seen Val's house sans furniture.
That's true.
Michael, Val's husband, was out of town when they got their keys. So Aunt Al to the rescue, and me and Alice were Big Al, Little Al hanging out while Val was doing the final inspection.
Yeah, saved my butt, honestly.
So while we haven't been on microphone together, we have seen one another in person.
That's right.
And for that, we are grateful to have one another, whether via Zoom, as I touch my screen.
I love
Val
you.
touches her screen. I love you. Or in person.
Yes, for sure. So that was basically most of my summer. Otherwise, we just went to Michael's hometown for a baby's birthday party. Our niece turned 2, and Alice was also a co-star of the show because she was the new baby who everyone was meeting. And then we went to a wedding, and it was our first time being away from Alice. She stayed here with Linda. And that was interesting. I mean, she did great. We all did great. It was good. It was good to know we can do that. So
good. Yeah. I know that new parents say the first time is the hardest.
Yeah.
It's like, you just kind of gotta we just gotta go, and I can't have anxiety, and I just need to I have to go do this thing, and my kid is safe and okay. And then once you do it once, you're like, okay, I could do this once a month. Or whenever, or I know that we could go on date night on Tuesday and be okay. Yeah, of course.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And to be clear, we have left the house without her before.
No, Val, you sent me a text today that was like, I've never left my baby, except for that one time we went to the wedding.
That's right. You are correct. No. So that was cool. It was good to know that we could do it, and it was cool to be a grown up again, without having to worry about diapers and whatever else. Even if it was short-lived. And now we're home for a couple weeks. So yeah, just kind of trying to be settled and continue to get the house done. That's basically my life right now.
Nice. That's great.
Al, much more interesting. Would love to hear about your summer, including of course D23.
Thank you so much, Val. I would like to preface this with some crazy quips, Val. Pre D23, well, I didn't move this summer, but I'm the world's busiest person. So so me and Val trying to schedule recordings is always really tough for us. But we make it a priority because we love this and we love you guys. Mm-hmm. But so my summer in general has been totally fine. But I found out that, Val, we have listeners who we don't know personally. And that kind of blows my mind. And I know that's a silly thing to think because I have a podcast that is on the internet for anyone to listen to. And of course, out of all of our downloads, I don't know every single person. But I just want to say thank you so much to all of the people who listen to our podcast, whether you found us on the internet, through a friend, or whatever. I have a friend who sent me a Facebook message saying, my brother-in-law asked me how we know each other and he listens to your podcast. And I do not know this brother-in-law. So I just love that we have like fans of ours who are really interested. And then like, I'm so excited to have new listeners that I met at D23. We have a bowling friend that I met that has listened. And I just think it's really cool that we get to do this together. And there are actually people who care and listen to us. So I preface my very long about to talk about D23 pod or experience with thank you so much for being here. Because exactly. we wouldn't be consistently doing this for 3.5 years with 2 minor breaks, 3, I guess, if you count the time Val had a baby. Although we did prepare pretty good for that one. That was a long break. We did. I'm just really grateful to do this with you, Val.
I feel the same way.
Yay. Okay. So once again, not about to talk about the actual reason why we're here. Den brother, gonna talk about my experience at D23. So every 2 years, my best friend and I go to D23. This is our 3rd time going. A lot of people ask why it's not called D24. It's the year 2024, and it's because Disney's fan club is D23, because 23 is like the year that like Disney was basically created.
1923.
2023 is when Disney was created. So that's why it's called D23, and it is at the Anaheim Convention Center every 2 years. And Ryan and I have now found out a couple of interesting things to do immediately once we find this out. So the moment the dates were released, I booked a hotel. So we got a really cheap hotel in a really great location before they all knew that it was coming and jacked up the price. And so there's like little things of like where to stay. Like one of our things to do was to like bring food in. And this year they didn't let you bring food in. They were literally taking food out of people's bags and throwing it away.
Oh my God.
Craziest thing I saw was a half-eaten McGriddle in like their like little bin of like can't bring this food in. So very interesting. We started off with a trip in Disneyland. We like flew in the morning, went to Disneyland. Disneyland's amazing. I like to say Disneyland is for the Disney fan. So it's like the history, it's the, the nostalgia. It is where it all started. But if you're looking for a legitimate Disney vacation, you got to go world. Okay. World. And that's coming from 2 gals who go to Disney World multiple times a year.
With some regularity, yes.
Some regularity.
Also, Disneyland, just know if you're ever considering going, don't go when it's really hot because they do not know how to deal with that.
Shade.
Whereas Florida is like expert in creating safe spaces.
Yeah, Disneyland's not prepared for heat. Even if you went to like Universal Studios, they've got misters, they've got fans, they've got shade. Disneyland does not. No. And that's coming from someone who on day 1 got heat rash on their ankles. Okay. You turn 30 and your skin betrays you. It was really bad. For the sake of everyone, I'm only going to show Val what happened.
Oh my God.
I know. So, but it did get us into D23 through a back way because I was like, I'm looking for first aid. And so we got in without having to wait in a really long line.
Wow. Nice.
Another Alan Ryan tip, go looking for first aid. They'll let you in. Okay, so Ryan and I dress up all the time. So day 1, we dressed up as the highway sign that you see coming into Walt Disney World in Florida. Something interesting about D23 is it's very Disneyland cast member heavy. So our Disney World nuances don't go as far, but then for the Disney World people that are there, it hits. Like our Disney World like shout outs always hit really hard for those world people who from Florida who ended up coming in for the convention. And it's amazing. So there is shopping. There are different expos. I mean, if you've ever been to a Comic-Con, it is the Disney Comic-Con. And there are so many interactive things. Something cool that they did this year was they had the Great Pin. Oh shoot, what was it called? It was called the Great Pin Find or something. So each station, once you waded through it, you got a special pin. And so they had like a Hulu pin. There was the Bear pin, Abbott Elementary. There's a Disney Channel pin. There was a Freeform pin. So you waded through all these things, and then you could like enter to win giveaways. But it was really cool that it made it waiting in those lines where sometimes we waited an hour and a half to get through a specific booth. They made it worth it because you get something at the end. So we started off, our very first panel was the Directors of Animation panel. And I feel like you guys all know, I love doing voices. I love doing this podcast. I am so much more comfortable behind a microphone than I am in front of a camera, which is insane because I'm just like so perfect, gorgeous, and confident and very humble.
She's joking, but she really is.
I am not confident in front of a camera. I do appreciate you.
No,
for
but
saying
she
that.
is gorgeous and perfect.
Oh my God. Stop, Val. Thank you. Tell me again. Okay. But it was so inspiring to see, there was like the CEO of Pixar and the CEO of Disney Animation, and then a couple of directors from there. And it was like, I'm getting goosebumps again thinking about it. It was them talking about like the process and how Pixar is different from Disney Animation, and working with actors, and the lead up to how many times do we have audiences watch this before we actually put the movie out, and taking other people's voices. When you're the director, what do you kind of do? I've never been more inspired to be like, this is what I want to do. I am so inspired to do voiceover work and like be in entertainment. And I am like, this panel literally refilled my battery. Even Ryan was like, I need to go home and take a voiceover class. Like, they seem so real. They're all introverts. They need me, an extrovert, in their booth, giving them energy. But it was so insanely inspiring and just like the coolest thing. And then later we saw, so in the panel was Pete Docter, Domi Shi, Peter Sohn, Ron Clements, Jared Bush, and Jennifer Lee. We saw Pete Docter a couple times throughout the weekend talk about his experience as a CEO. He is the CCO and the director of Pixar. So he was super cool to listen to. We listened to an entire panel of Peter Sohn talking about the making of Elemental, which started as a slow burn, LOL, because it's a fire, and how it really took off internationally, and then like really became like a big international movie, even though it had like a slow release in the States. One of my favorite rewatches.
It's so good.
If you haven't seen Elemental yet, please watch it. It is so good. It's beautiful. And it's literally, it is a love story. It's a love story. And Disney doesn't give like legit, I mean, like, yeah, we have our princesses, but we don't get like heart-wrenching love stories like Elemental. And like, we haven't just gotten that recently.
And Wade, the like guy, is such a modern, like,
empath,
you know, male ideal, like, where he like cries, you know, he's very like just emotionally vulnerable and like clear with how he feels and communicative. It's just like, what a lovely thing to highlight and reward in a film on top of like everything else, right? Like, it's a gorgeous film. It's also an immigrant story. Like, there's so much to it, but like the complete, whatever the opposite of toxic masculinity is,
that's
like,
Wade.
That's Wade. It's so lovely.
Honestly, it's giving Michael.
It's giving Michael.
It's giving Michael. And I would like to say that I was the person who told Val she needed to watch Elemental.
It's true. So. It's true. And as the child of immigrants,
it hit you hard in all the right ways.
Who is also fiery, or an immigrant, and also who is also fiery compared to my very sensitive husband. It definitely resonated for sure.
Yeah. So this is your suggestion to go watch Elemental, but so cool to just see him go through.
That's awesome. Yeah.
He showed a storyboard of the original idea where it literally was like, what if the elements interacted?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then he showed different parts. Oh, it was just absolutely incredible. And then we ended day one, at the expo itself with a concert from Simple Plan.
Oh, love.
They had all the hits. then Disney's coming out with like an album of like all of our favorite kind of like pop rock, emo, alternative rock bands singing Disney songs. So they ended with "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" And it really just like fulfilled something in me that needed to happen. I was obsessed with Simple Plan in 6th grade.
Oh, me too. I still have my shirt. Like I'm literally.
Do you? I wish I kept my shirt because they all signed it for me when I was.
Me
in 6th
too.
grade.
I'm getting a bunch of my shirts turned into blankets, and one set is my concert shirts, and I have my Simple Plan shirt.
Love that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then we ended day 1 with the movies and TV panel. I almost didn't go because I was like, a lot of it's going to be really Star Wars and Marvel heavy. But I would have sat somewhere without Ryan, and so I ended up going. Very cool. We became really good friends with the people next to us. They will come back in the story. Okay. But we had like the best time. We're sitting in the 400 level. Basically, for anyone who's in Chicago, it was like if it was held in the Allstate Arena. Mm-hmm. So there were like 12,000 people there, you know, big, huge panel. Mm-hmm. And it was cool to see all the celebrities. You could tell they were running low on time. It did run an hour longer than it said it was supposed to be. And so there were some actors that came out that had microphones that never got called to, like Mufasa's coming out, and Seth Rogen and Billy on the street. Can't think of his last name right now. Eichner. They had microphones, never got called on. So I'm like, they got so much money to be here and they didn't even have to do anything. And that's the dream.
Wow.
Okay, so now we're on day 2. Day 2, we dressed up as fast passes. So we printed out like huge fast passes of the old. And it was a huge hit. We were going to do it on Sunday, and for some reason we changed to Saturday just because we knew more people probably would see it, because Sunday the big panel was at 5:00 instead of 7:00, so we had more time during the day on Saturday. People were stopping us to talk about it. People were taking pictures of it. The most insane people who stopped us, besides the media, which we had 2 media talk to us, the LA Times and our friend Hunter, who works for D23, got us on like D23 video. The people who work on Lightning Lane. There was a group of people who work for Lightning Lane that were like, we have to take a picture of this. And both of us were like, we love Lightning Lane. So for anyone who's not in the parks, even though if you're listening to a DCOM podcast, you probably are a little bit familiar. They got rid of the paper fast passes, which is what we were, and introduced Fast Pass Plus, which was on your phone, and then got rid of that. Now it's Lightning Lane and it's paid. Mm-hmm. So people have a lot of feelings. And it was just really funny that like 7 people were like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. We work for Lightning Lane. Stopped us to take a picture of our basically what they killed. So we went mini golfing. We went to Ava Fest. If anyone watches Abbott Elementary, they had full Ava Fest there. Val, we saw Sharpay's convertible from High School Musical.
Wow.
We had just like the best time being little fast passes. We went to the Bear. They had the restaurant.
That's so cool.
And then this day, Val, we went to the Disney Channel panel.
Woo!
So we saw some people, some newer people from like Zombies, Rise of Red from Descendants just came out. So they were heavily promoting that movie. Mm-hmm. David Henry was there promoting Wizards reboot. Monique Coleman and Corbin Bleu from High School Musical were there. Raven Simone was there. And it was just like absolutely amazing to hear them talk about their experiences on Disney Channel. And I know Ryan didn't really want to go to this panel, and we left a little early because we had to run somewhere else. But I'm really glad that I got to see them talk for a little bit, and I got to see the heavy hitters talk about their experience, and they definitely gave a lot of information and well wishes to the new class of Disney Channel stars, which was really nice.
Nice.
And then the last day came, and we dressed up as the Disney World parking cast members. So we wore our yellow stripes with yellow shorts and our white hats. And one of the Disney ambassadors saw us and thought that we actually worked there. And she was like, I did that job. I give you so much props. And we didn't know how to tell her we don't actually work there. This is a convention. This is not my costume. I bought this on Amazon. She's very nice. But the best panel that we saw that day, so we saw 2 really good panels. We saw Pete Docter, who is the CCO and director of Pixar, talk about his experience with Zach Ridley, who is a Parks and Ride person, which I forgot to talk about. Saturday night, they announced all of the new stuff coming to the parks. Huge news for Villains fans, Cars fans, Zootopia fans, Coco fans, Monsters Inc. fans. I think everyone's butts fell out of their butt when they announced the Monsters Inc. ride. And so they kind of talked about how Pixar and ride creation go hand in hand. So that was a cool panel.
Very cool.
And then we also saw inside the studio, and we saw the voices of Goofy, Minnie, and Mickey do live voiceover on stage.
Wow.
Once again, insanely inspiring. It was the coolest thing to just have them be like, yeah, I'm just gonna like go do what I do in a booth on stage. And something that I didn't know, Val, which you may or may not have known, is Tom Hanks's brother, Jim, does all of the Woody voiceover except for the movies, toys, video games, rides.
I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah. So he was really there cool. too, doing a lot of Woody stuff. And it was just absolutely incredible. It was recommended to us by the people who were sitting next to us at the Honda Center, and they like pulled us in line with them, and we got in for a bit, and they were just so nice to be like, you have to go to that one.
That's awesome.
And then we just kind of finished up walking around the show floor. We went to a bunch of booths, got stickers, bookmarks, sign up for this giveaway, do all these things. So many people have my personal information now. Just for signing up for Canva, And then lastly, we ended with the Legend ceremony, which is where we saw Harrison Ford and Miley Cyrus and Jamie Lee Curtis. Miley Cyrus was literally 10 feet away from me at one point.
Wow.
Like Martha Blanding, the first tour guide who's a Black woman at Disneyland got honored this year.
Wow.
And I got so choked up because the Dapper Dan sang and the Disneyland band came out, and in her speech, she was like, I never saw this for myself. I think that's just so inspiring to be like, we don't see how much of an impact we're making when we're making it, and how, oh my God, she was so inspiring. And I just adored, the Legend ceremony so much, because then you had people like Harrison Ford who was like, this is embarrassing.
He's so funny. He's like,
so
can
funny.
I just go be in my man cave?
Literally,
not do this anymore.
And then the voices of all the princesses came out. We had Jodie Benson, Paige O'Hara, Nika Noni Rose. Oh my God, the voice of Jasmine.
Ming Na.
It starts with an L. And Ming Na was there. She got a huge cheering. People were like standing ovation for her and Nika Noni Rose. It's like Linda Larkin, who is the voice of Larkin.
I think it's Larkin.
And so they were all there. And it was just
wow.
I mean, inspiring.
Yes. The cool thing about Ming-Na Wen, I think we've talked about this before, but she has been in Marvel, Star Wars, and she's a Disney princess. Like, she's got the trifecta.
The dream. Talk about a triple threat. She's so cool. So that, Val, do you have any questions? If you don't, that's fine. I feel like I covered a lot of it. I tried to cover more than less. But if anyone listening can ever go, you gotta go. Well, and you have to go with someone who you travel well with. And I recommend only going with 1 or 2 other people, because it is very overwhelming. And if you try to take too many people's opinions into consideration for this, it's going to be too overwhelming. So the fact that me and Ryan travel well together and we're on a similar plane of what we're interested in, it works out really well.
Sure.
But yeah. Okay, Val, any questions?
Was there a panel that you wanted to go to that you didn't get a chance to go to?
This is silly. I really wanted to go to the Grey's Anatomy panel. I really wanted to go to the Grey's Anatomy panel because it's celebrating 20 seasons and they were all there. Also,
if I could have guessed 1,000 times. I never would have guessed that.
Also, the voice of Moana, Auli'i Karavalaho, she didn't get a big stage. They gave her a small stage. And like for Peter Sohn, we were sitting on the ground at that stage. And for her, people were packed like sardines standing up. So we didn't even wait. So I would have loved to see that hour of her talking about Moana too. And then there was a Disney Disney Parks food panel that would have been really cool to go to. I'm trying to think of like the whole list. I think Anika Noni Rose signed, but you had to like win the lottery to see her. Would have like loved to meet her. I mean, Tiana's my favorite princess, so
she's the best princess.
She's the best princess.
Entrepreneur, come on, saving those pennies. Something I'm not doing. Yeah, there's definitely a couple I'd have to like look at a list because I know there's one that I can't think of right now that I definitely want, that me and Ryan were like, man, we can't go to it, but that's okay. What else? Were you actually on the news?
So I actually never looked up if we were quoted in the LA Times or not. But then Ryan was in some D23 recap video. It's funny because when it comes to me and Ryan, I am you and Ryan is me. And so when we were both on camera, he's the one screaming. He's like, I love D23. And I'm like, we saw Harrison Ford tonight.
That's so funny.
So, yeah, we weren't really like on TV, but it was, maybe we're going to be in like a recap video or they'll use our footage somewhere, but we do it for the attention, but we also do it just because we have a good time.
Cool. If there's one takeaway about this whole experience, what is it?
It's really, I feel like it's the cliche of literally just do it. Just do it because what you want is, you are capable of getting what you want if you just do it.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Do the thing, because I'm seeing people living my dream and why are they doing it and I'm not? And it's because I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. And so you just got to like,
do the thing.
Get through it, do it, and say it. And the thing is, it's achievable.
Yeah.
It's achievable. It's not out of the question.
For sure.
And so that's probably my biggest takeaway from it. It really refilled my battery. I had a really just like low mental summer. And it really was kind of what I needed going into like the end of the year, going into like my future career, continuing to figure out what I like doing in entertainment. Yeah. And I feel like it's one of the, like that feeling is one of those things that you also don't experience it until you're experiencing it. Because like, I can tell you that to your face right now on Zoom, but like, until you feel that feeling, like you're not ever gonna do it,
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Al, for that recap.
Thanks for letting me talk about it, Val. I hope everyone's interested. And if not, now's a great time to tune back in.
Yeah, I will put the timestamps in so that people can skip if they want.
Cool. If they hate me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone who listens to this podcast hates me.
That's definitely true.
That's what they were saying on our reviews.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone should go leave a 5-star review just to get rid of those ones that everyone's like, "Al, she sucks."
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea to leave.
Yeah, that'd be such a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Val, remember when we were going to talk about Den Brother?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
We're done stalling. We're done talking about moving and Disney nerds.
Okay. Y'all, let's just do the business and get this shit going. Okay.
Kick this shit off. Yeah, we're explicit.
We're explicit. Okay. I feel like we're always explicit on the ones we don't like because we just want to swear at it.
Yeah.
And I will.
Okay.
Den Brother came out August 13th, 2010. So there was like a good 5 months. No, more than that. Because the last one came out February. So like almost like half a year. Like about half a year between the two. So they were slowed down at this point. Really interesting. Den Brother was directed by Mark L. Taylor. Mark L. Taylor, you might recognize the name because he was in 2 DComs. He's a character actor. He's not a director. He's only directed like 4 things, but he was in The Other Me and Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. Yeah, he like if you saw him, you would absolutely recognize him.
Okay.
But he directed this. So sort of like how LeVar Burton randomly directed Smart House and never directed like anything else. Mark L. Taylor directed Den Brother.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know that this was largely his fault
for him, but
yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say whose fault this movie was, which I'll talk more about later. So it was written by 2 people, James Krieg, who's a pretty prolific writer for television, a lot of animated properties, like a bunch of Scooby-Doo stuff, a ton of Lego stuff. And then he like some other things, like one that stood out to me was the Clueless television show. Mainly because I know someone who's on it. And then like he did 2 other like random TV movies that kind of felt similar, like teenage TV movies right around the same time as this one. And then like never did that again, which I thought was really funny.
Sure.
And then the other writer was Michael Horowitz, who again wrote for TV, like, you know, pretty regularly. Some notables where he did multiple episodes was Burn Notice and The Gifted, which I think might have been a Marvel show, or
no, Val, it was a show about me.
Right, it was a show about Al. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, those are the director and writer. The cast is as follows.
Okay,
Hutch Dano, which is quite a name, played Alex Pearson. He hasn't done a ton recently. I mean, he has a couple recent credits, but like he got his start in Ramona and Beezus.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, with Selena Gomez, I think was in that. And then he was on a bunch of episodes of Zeke and Luther.
Okay.
Which I never saw. I was probably too old for it.
I think that's a Disney Channel show. Yeah,
I think so. And like I said, he has regular credits like up to now, but like those were the things that I like recognized. Then we have Genevieve Hannelius as Emily Pearson, his younger sister. She is really big into voice acting, but early on in her career, she was in something called Leo Little's Big Show and Sunny with a Chance.
Sunny with a Chance, Val, is the Demi Lovato Disney Channel show.
Right. Then we have Vicki Lewis as Dina Reams, who I believe was the other den mother, like the not nice one. She is a pretty prolific voice and character actor.
Cool.
Some notables are News Radio, 3 Sisters, and Finding Dory.
I know that one.
Me too. Kelsey Asbiel Chow played Matisse Burrows. She was on One Tree Hill, something I'd never heard of called Pair of Kings, the recent Teen Wolf show, Fargo, and currently is on Yellowstone.
Okay.
David Lambert played Danny Goose Gustavo, who is Alex's best friend, who neither one of them seems to like each other at all, which is a common theme recently. He was in something called Aaron Stone. He was on The Fosters.
Okay.
And one of the more recent credits was Good Trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Gould played Rachel. I think most of these are the rest of the Bumblebee Troop or whatever. And she was in Lucky Louie, Rita Rocks, but she stopped acting in 2013.
Okay.
Kiara Muhammad played Ursula. And she is the voice of Doc McStuffins.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So she's like a fame now.
Yeah. Isn't that so cool?
That's so cool.
Yeah. A lot of
I want to do that.
I know. A lot of voice actors in this cast, actually, Al. So it's kind of apt that we're doing this.
We're talking about voice.
Yeah. Haley Chu played Tina, the one who was like afraid to talk. She is also, maybe ironically, given her character, a voice actor.
Everyone's throwing it in my face today.
Maurice Godin played Jasper Pearson, their dad. He's also a voice actor and a character actor. Some things that he's been in a lot of episodes of, Life with Roger and Working, but he's been acting like forever. Okay. Probably the most well-known person in this movie is Deborah Mooney, who plays Allie Jacklitz, their neighbor, the older lady with the dog. She has been a character actor since 1976.
Wow.
Yes. Some notable credits of hers. She was in Tootsie. She was in Dead Poet. Yeah, she was in Dead Poets Society.
Seen that.
Yeah, she was in something called Davis Rules, something called Kirk.
Haven't
she was
seen that.
The thing that I know her from is Everwood. She was on Everwood for a long time. She was on Scandal, Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. Do you remember who she was?
No.
Ethan Hunt's mom.
Oh. God. If I had taken more time, I probably would have gotten it.
And one of her more recent credits was Inventing Anna.
Oh, yeah. That's like really recent. Wow.
So she's still acting.
Love her.
She has credits like all the way up to now. So yeah, she's great. Definitely a grounding presence in this movie for sure. And then a fun sort of, I guess this could count more as a fun fact, since we don't really have any. Hutch Dano's real dad, Rick, made a cameo at one point in the movie as a delivery man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. The synopsis is as follows. Suspended from his hockey team, a teenager becomes a substitute leader for his sister's Girl Scout troop. Actually,
that's a good synopsis.
Great synopsis. Perfect synopsis. Yep. No notes.
10 out of 10 to whoever wrote that, because that's exactly what this movie is about. And it didn't need any other information.
That is correct. Okay. Business complete.
Thanks, Val.
Al.
Yeah, Val.
Would love to hear your first impressions of this movie.
Thank you so much, Val. Well, I've watched this about a month ago. So I think I forgot all my opinions about it. Okay. I remember not loving it. So I'm going to give it a 4.5. Do you think that's generous, Val?
I was literally just going to say, I think that's generous.
She took a sip of water and I was like, I'm about to read her mind. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not a good movie. I think that, like, the intention is there behind it, but I don't know. I just feel like no one was really likable. Yeah. I'll save mine for mine. I mean, you watched it more recently than I have.
Yeah.
But I just remember being like, what am I watching? Kind of. And there were a lot of like lessons. I think one of Val and I's biggest pet peeves throughout a lot of DCOMs is having the same thing happen again and again and again. And the one that I continue to go back to, I believe, is Hounded, where it's like we see the problem, we have a fix, and then we go through the same problem again, and then we have a fix, and we do the rule of threes. And it's the same thing, where it's like, he's being a doofus, he fixes it. He's being a doofus, he fixes it. He's being a doofus, he fixes it. Yeah. So it's been done. Yeah. And so it was just it wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't fun at all.
Yeah. I don't have any other thoughts, Val. Any first impressions?
My first note is I hate this kid already.
No. Sorry,
so,
Hutch.
Yeah, I thought both the character and the actor were bad, in my personal opinion. I think that he was going for like Van Wilder, but a high schooler, and it did not play at all.
Oh, okay.
He did not have the right energy. And again, it's hard to know how much of this is the writing, how much of this is the directing, how much of this is him. But he just played as completely unlikable, to your point. He was like manic in a way that like, no cool kid in school behaves the way that he was behaving.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like he was giving like nerd who can't control his emotions kind of thing the whole time, which didn't jive with like what they were telling us he was, right?
Yeah.
Which was this star hockey player. His dad was like kind of whatever and boring. Like I just
came in
like
at weird times.
There were a lot of like missed opportunities, I think, in this movie. The few redeeming things in this movie was the little girls were very cute and some of the better actors in this movie. Yeah. And then, as I said, Deborah Mooney, who wasn't given very much to do, did the best she absolutely could with her small part. But yes, it is exhausting. I think I literally wrote at one point, how long is it going to take him to learn this lesson? Because it was driving me nuts that he was just continuing to be massively selfish without like the needle moving at all throughout the entire thing. And I just think that there was a better way to write and execute this movie that would have been could have been very similar in premise, but would have been much more interesting. Also, like they gave the girl, like the love interest, like literally nothing to do.
Yeah.
Like she was
literally just
basically a prop. Right. Like she had no agency. She was not interesting. She had nothing to say.
Yeah.
She basically just was there to like look disapprovingly at him and then give him everything he wanted at the end. So yeah, I was not a fan of this movie. I was so checked out. It was very hard for me to be super attentive during the movie. So I didn't take a ton of notes because I was just so like not into it.
That's how I was too. My quotes and moments are slim.
Yeah, me too. And it's just like it doesn't have to be this way. And I will say, we recently guested on Pop Capsule podcast. And for that show, we both rewatched Tiger Cruise, but we also watched How to Build a Better Boy, which we hadn't seen yet because it's in the future for us. And that gave me so much hope that we are going to get through this like period of these DCOMs that I do not like and kind of get back to a similar tone of like the earlier DCOMs. These DCOMs still, they're just trying so hard to be things that they're not, instead of just like playing it straight, but like making it a silly situation. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just kind of like exhausted by these movies. And I really hope that, I mean, I think the next one is Camp Rock 2. So like, I think we'll be happy with that one. But these ones I think we've got
a good couple coming up of the ones that we've heard of and kind of maybe know, but the ones that we don't know as well or have maybe never heard of are the ones where it's like this flopped for a reason. Right, and I feel like this is one of those that like flopped for a reason.
100%. This is a bummer. And that's why no one knows about it, or like I had literally never heard of it. Okay. Apologies for being a Debbie Downer.
That's okay.
Al.
Val, say one nice thing about yourself.
About myself?
Yeah.
I made my baby giggle today. And that
great.
Made me
okay.
feel good.
See, vibes back. Okay.
Okay, Al. Favorite quotes or moments?
I wrote down 3.
Great.
Quotes.
Let's hear it.
As I like to say, my favorite moment was the credits.
They did do bloopers over the credits.
They did. That was nice. So that's actually my favorite moment, legitimately. I also don't remember how any of these are said. So if I say them incorrectly, usually something fun fact about me is that if you say something and I repeat it, I am not mocking you. I am not making fun of you. You said something funny and I want to hear myself say it too. I want to be like in on the joke. So a lot of the quotes that I write down, I'm like, oh, they said that really funny. Like, it's not really a funny line, but I like the way they said it. And so I think one of these in here is one of those. But I don't really remember how it was said. But that's something fun about me, where one of my friends was like, stop making fun of me. And I'm like, I'm not making fun of you. I am literally just wanting to laugh with you and like just repeat what you said because I think it was funny. I saw a tweet that was like, I liked how it sounded in your mouth and I want to hear how it sounds out of my mouth.
That's so funny.
Okay, so my three quotes are: Ingrid is the housekeeper, not babysitter. And then they pan to Ingrid and she's like,
yeah, that was an ongoing bit.
Just being an old lady.
Yeah.
What? No, I have like 100 cool things I gotta go do. Which was none cool things. And then, there was some cold air in here. Someone turn up the heat. Because I think he was getting like slighted. Slighted.
By Matisse, you mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
I'm actively trying to forget this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, Val, any favorite quotes or moments?
A couple. So at one point, he invents a den mother named Mrs. Zamboni. And one of the kids goes, because another one's like, what about Mrs. Zamboni or something? And then the other one goes, there's no Mrs. Zamboni, dingbat. She calls her friend a dingbat, which is so good. These girls, okay, so if anyone's ever seen the show Glow, like the wrestling show,
I haven't. Mm-mm.
It was giving me Glow in the sense of like each one of them had like their own unique vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But they all like kind of worked together. And there was one that was kind of like the outcast at first, but then she ended up being kind of like cool because she had like unique strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I smell a rat. I have a rat. This smells more like your brother. And then these are all actually this girl that I was just talking about, the like kind of,
it's all of her girl. Quotes. She's the best one.
Yeah. She goes, at one point she learns how to start a fire and she goes, I can start a fire.
Silly.
And then at one point Goose says to Alex, I don't want to be captain. I want you to be a good captain, which I thought was like such a good line.
Val with her actual lines being said.
And then this delightful piece of exposition. It's so sad. If Mom were alive, would she take me to Bumblebee meetings?
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. Like, it's fine to have a parent passed away. We've seen decoms with this before. Like, it's not whatever. But the way the way that they talked about it a lot was like that. Like, it was just, it felt like someone writing a line to like provide information. It didn't feel like heartfelt. There was like one time where he was talking about it with Matisse where it felt somewhat genuine, you know, like genuine. Yeah. But otherwise, no.
It's kind of like if Mom were alive and then like the Hannah Montana transition. Oh, yeah. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as a favorite moment, probably when he misses Doubtfires at the hockey game before he is a complete and utter jerk. Like when he's actually like in character, like doing the bit. Because first of all, he looks great. Like they actually did a really good job with his makeup and stuff. And it is like the one time where he is like acting, like he's actually like, doing a good job. So I liked that scene. And he like puts the like bad lady in her place and stuff like that. So it's like a fun moment. And then the girls are cute. So like whenever they're doing cute things, like, you know, like when they're leaf blowing with handheld fans.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. That was very funny. That's it for me. Anything else before we go to Spoiler City?
No, I've been waiting in Spoiler City with just my little vest on.
Yes.
No other clothes, just my Girl Scouts, my bumblebees.
You're Winnie the Poohing in your bumblebee vest. I'm
Winnie the Poohing in my bumblebee vest. And I only have 2 little patches right on my nipples.
Explicit.
Explicit.
Oh my God.
Sorry. I don't know. Okay. I don't know who listens to our podcast, but if you're under 18, go ask a parent if you can keep listening. Okay. Val, welcome to Spoiler City, where what do? I spoil the movie. If you haven't been here in a while, because we took a little summer vacation, our tops are off and going to Spoiler City bit started on like episode 1, where I just imagined us riding into a city in a convertible, like Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, holding our shirts above our heads.
And so that's kind of where that started.
Yeah.
So just for some context, if you never listened to that one episode where I started doing that for some reason, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Okay, cool. I'm going to talk a lot again.
Okay.
But Val, I did not really take too many notes. So
great.
We'll see how much I remember, because remember, everyone, I watched this a month ago. So if I'm wrong, go watch the movie. I don't care. I'm happy to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we start the movie with the Ice Hounds hockey team, and we have our superstar Alex. He's sitting on the bench. And they have a lot of fans for being really bad. So like a lot of people come to their hockey games, but like they're apparently like really bad and haven't been winning.
It was giving like hockey in Texas, or I'm sorry, football in Texas, where like people go to the high school games no matter what because they're obsessed.
Yeah, for sure. That's a yes. So they're really bad. They haven't been winning, but they have one guy on the team who's like really superstar, but is like a huge dick. And everyone's obsessed with him, and they have like signs for him and whatever. The team's trying to work together, but he's not really working with the team because he's like a selfish player.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's fighting with someone on the team who turns out to be his quote best friend. Wrong. And then I wrote Alex kind of sucks, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets home after the game, which they lost because of him, because he like tried to score the goal by himself.
He tried to steal the puck from his best friend on his team.
Dumb. And so then he gets home and his dad is like, where have you been? He leaves in a rush. And he's like, can you come to one of my games? Can you like be a dad? And he's like, okay, fine, whatever. Watch your sister. Literally don't care. So then he's in charge of like watching his sister. Since his dad has to go to work, his dad is a college professor. And we find out that the bumblebees is like Girl Scouts, or brownies or daisies or whatever. At this rate, I think they would be fully in Girl Scouts just due to their age. Bumblebees are getting shut down because the mom of the troop mom, the den mother, is leaving and changing cities. So like the daughter who's in it is leaving too, and they're like literally leaving right then, and none of the other moms want to do it. So then what does Alex do? He gets stuck being the den brother. And so then he's like, doesn't want to do this, but he kind of just like gets coerced into doing it. She's like, just one day, I just need you to like watch us for one day. And he's like, okay, fine. He takes him to the ice skating rink for hockey. All the girls kind of hate it. And then like the bully from the other hockey team, who apparently he plays a bunch, like makes fun of him for like being around all these like little girls. And he's like, okay. And then like he fights with the guy from the other team, and he ends up with, can you guess what he ends up with on his face? Is it A, a bag of peas, B, an ice pack, or C, a raw steak? Make your guesses. It's C, a raw steak. If you can't tell by my tone, that's how I feel about it. So then brother and sister talk about the mom. I didn't write down the sister's name, so I'm just going to call her sister until I find out a name if I wrote it down. So they like talk about how their mom passed away. Elaine?
No, her name is Emily, the girl.
Emily. Well, her name's Elaine now.
That's true.
And then we find out that he's interested in the popular girl Matisse, which is a restaurant near my work, and she's like not having it. And then he's like mean to her about it, and it's really wild. Some of these choices are just wild, but he's like mean to her because she's not in him, because he's like, I'm popular and really good at hockey, and she's like, okay, I literally don't give a shit.
He's like, I'm trying to do you a favor. Like, are you kidding?
So then they go play another hockey game, and he like made shirts for everyone that say like, go Alex, and he's our man. If he can't do it, he'll get suspended. And I wrote literally, this kid is an asshole. But he got suspended for like being a dick on the team. So the ref is like, you need to like take some time away. And so the coach is like, you're suspended, you're off, like we're done. And he wants a car. So he's like kind of going to do whatever he can to get a car. And his dad is like, you're a dick. I'm not giving you a car. You got to like earn a car. And he's like, fine.
Also, there's this like C plot that he's like desperate to get on this all-star hockey team, but yet he has no clue that the ref of this game is the coach of this all-star team. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I also don't think they made that super clear, and I really didn't pick up on it until the end, and that was really annoying.
Yeah.
So the bumblebees come over to the house, and he's their guardian again because they don't have anyone else. And they need to go to the community center to get little badges. So he takes them to the community center because he's like, fine, I can't do anything else. I'm suspended. And Matisse is there. She's also like a den sister, den mother. She is a den assistant. And then I wrote, he fights with the mom of 66. And I was like, how did I know her age? She was in 66. They were in Troop 66.
Right.
So he like fights with this other mom that is the den mother of another troop. And she's like, you need to have a woman guardian who is a mother be in charge. And so they like fought about it. He's like, no. We have a den mom. And he fakes that they have one and calls her Mrs. Zamboni. A Zamboni is the machine that they use to put new ice on top of an ice rink if you don't hockey or ice skate or winter. That's some new information for you. And then he's like trying to impress Matisse at the same time. So instead of making a flower basket like everyone else at the community center that they will then donate, he calls like a flower shop and has them make one. And she's like, wow, did you make this? And he's like, yeah. Stupid. And then he like goes to his coach basically in like the Dick's Sporting Goods of the town. His actual hockey coach is like the manager or works at like the Dick's Sporting Goods and like tries to be like, hey coach, let me come back. And he's like, no, you haven't changed yet, which is giving like what, like Lion King? I don't know. Like, remember who you are. And then Matisse walks into the Dick's Sporting Goods and he tries to ask her out again.
But she's like,
but she doesn't get it. And she goes, oh, yeah, I'll give you a ride. That's what you were asking, right? And he was like, yeah. And so he just like will take any excuse to like get in her car. So they like ride down to where like they went to some meeting or something.
Well, but in the meantime, his dad thought that he had done all this, these chores, but he'd actually tricked his sister and her friends, the Bumblebee troop, into doing all these chores. So then his dad bought him a car, but it was like a junker and needed complete overhaul. So then he tricked the girls again into like fixing his car for him. And so he has this nice quote unquote new car. Obviously it's not new, but you know what I mean? And so then he, instead of getting picked up by Matisse, he goes and picks her up and they like the girls like do his hair and get him all dressed up.
We have to, that's not yet.
Yes, it is. It's for this meeting.
No, I know, but they do the Mrs. Doubtfire in the house first. So like, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you just said he went to go, or she picked him up. So I thought you were already there.
Yeah, because as you were saying all of this, I was like, oh, there are my next 5 notes.
Sorry.
It's okay. You can keep it in as long as you mention that as they're like dressed, as he gave them the fake badges and then they dress him up as the den mom, she comes into the house and he's Mrs. Doubtfire. That's the only big part of that.
Right. So he like this is very Mrs. Doubtfire in the sense that like,
I mean, legitimately, like literally
he has like salad
frosting on his face.
Yeah. Like it's like the same thing. Like, so the lead den mother, who's like the villain,
the woman who's 66 years old,
right, comes over to like check on them. And so he's like, in a robe and like, is meant to look like, this woman who Mrs. Zamboni. So the girls, which this comes back later, are complicit in this, right? Like they help him trick her. So
because they just want to like have someone around,
right? They just want to be able to be their bumblebees, and their whole thing is like they're trying to get to this. What's it called? Camp of something?
Campapalooza?
Something like that. Campapalooza, whatever. Like they're trying to, there's like this big camping thing at the end of the summer or whatever.
You guys can really tell how much we like
and
this
they like are, that's everything they're doing is like trying to get there. They have to get enough badges, they have to raise enough money, like all of this stuff. So like they're the entire time they're just trying to get to this like Campapalooza or whatever it's called. So that's why they are complicit. That's why they are allowing him to like trick this woman, because they just want to like get to this thing. Okay. Sorry, please proceed.
So while this is all going on, so once they like help him get Matisse and like dress him up all nice, like once the Mrs. Doubtfire scene is over, they like actually like put him in like boy clothes and like, this is how you talk to girls. And kind of like while all this is going on, Mrs. J, the neighbor, is like spying in on all of this and kind of is like giving him shit for it, but is also helpful. And Val, what did I write down? Maybe she becomes den mother. It was just like it was too much information for me not to pick up on what they were putting down here. And so then they talked about how they all have to sell cookies, as, you know, all of these things do. And the woman who's 66 years old, the other den mom, was like, no, you can't have them all. That's our spot. That's for 66. And he's like, why? Who cares? Like, she's like, because that's where all the cookies sell. And he goes, how about we do a competition for it? So they have a competition where all of like, you know, the troops are at the mall trying to get as many cookies to sell. And then the den mother is like, well, Mrs. Zamboni has to be here for selling cookies. And so she like goes looking for him. He hides in a store and pretends to be her in like a dressing room and like wearing clothes. And and so he's like talking to her through the wall. And then he also is talking to, as Mrs. Zamboni, to Matisse and tries to be like, you should go on a date with Alex. Dumb. And then the girls, technically, like the troop of Alex's troop and Elaine's troop, technically won. They like won the mall competition. But as Val mentioned, when he had them do chores for him, like tape up my posters, fold my laundry socks, he made fake badges for them. These fake badges don't count toward their eligibility to get to Campapalooza, which I don't actually know if that's what it's called, but now that's what we're calling it. Yep. And so now everyone hates him because he lied to everyone and everyone's sad. And so even the girls, they did it, like, to Val's point of, like, they were complicit in doing this, like, with Mrs. Zamboni and everything, but they didn't know they were getting fake badges. They thought they were getting real badges along the way. So they were also upset with him. So he kind of fucks everyone over in this moment.
Right. And he did, in fairness to him, he did actually look it up and saw that you were allowed to do, like, quote unquote, independent study badges. What he didn't understand or failed to look up or whatever is that they can't all be made up badges. Like, you can do one or two of those, but like all of these girls' badges were like fake badges.
Right. And then after like everyone's pissed at him, we go back to the hockey team, which is kind of the whole reason we're here. And they have won 4 games in a row without him. Crazy.
Amazing what teamwork will do.
Amazing what communication will do. Val, just noticed your shirt. You got bingo at D Commentaries.
That's right.
Just a little shout out.
That's right. I figured I'd be festive, especially because I just found this shirt again after we moved.
I love that. Okay. So Alex then is like, okay, I have to kind of win these girls back. So he's like, I will take you. And he has created basically this survivor camp event to get them to earn all of their real badges. So archery and starting a fire and pitching a tent. And so they just had like a full learning day so that they could earn all of their badges so that they could have enough badges to get to Campapalooza. And they need one final badge to finally get there. So they're going to sell muffins at the hockey game. And so basically they're just going to like use their entrepreneurial skills to sell. And also, I think that it's this point where there was one girl who was really, really quiet and didn't talk the entire time. And then they like put her in the hockey game with selling muffins. And she's like, yeah, get your muffins here. And they're like, whoa, Tina, what's going on?
She's so cute.
And it was so funny. But then the den mom is like, well, Mrs. Zamboni has to be here for you guys to legally be selling muffins. And so then they dress him up as her, which is Val's section where like they did a really nice job with the makeup in this section. And then the woman is about to like turn them in for like not doing this correctly. Like, you're going to get your stuff taken away because you're doing this without a den, Mom. And then I said, but he's doubt firing. And then Coach was complaining. He's like, man, we're losing right now. It's the final game and we're losing. And we really need Alex. And we wish he was here. And Alex hears this and he rips off his wig and starts playing. And it just like, that's Val and I's point of it. He just goes right back to the beginning of like, come on, man.
Right. Like, what was the point of the last hour?
Yeah. And so everyone's mad at him because he didn't work as a team once again, because he just was selfish.
And because he outed them as lying, they basically got disbanded.
Yep. So everyone's pissed. He has a chat with his dad and he's like begging to be grounded. And Dad's just like, no, I'm not even punishing you. Like, you need to like sit. And he's like, I'll do anything. I'll like wash the car. I'll no TV for a week. And Dad's just like,
I don't want you to feel like you've gotten rid of this.
Right.
Like
So once you wash the car, it's fixed. Like, no, nothing will fix this. You have to like sit in the fact that you like fucked everything up.
Yeah.
And then the neighbor's cat ran away. The old McNeighbor had a cat and he like saved the cat. Val liked that one. He returns the cat to her and he goes in her house and realizes that his mom was a bumblebee with Mrs. J, and she used to be the den mother. So then he's like, hey, everyone, I know you all hate me still, to the bumblebees the next day, but I found you a new den mother. And she comes in and she's like, cool for now. And then he's back on the hockey team for playoffs. And then he lets Goose score. Finally learned something. Mm-hmm. He did the assist. Oh, I found out the name, Val. Okay, so they ask him back. They're like, actually, we like her, but like we really want you. We really liked having you as den brother. And they go to Camporee.
Campapalooza is a better name.
It is. But then the 66 lady is still like against them, and he has to be in uniform. And so Matisse helps him into a uniform. Dad was there for some reason at Camporee, which was weird. And then we find out that the lady's husband, the 66 troop lady, her husband is the ref and the all-star coach. And they ask him to be on because he finally learned his lesson.
So he gets everything he ever wanted. And Matisse kisses him too. Yeah.
All right, done. Bingo.
Thanks, Al. Let's do some bingo.
Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's fine.
It's fine. It's just like, this is one of those movies, I think I've said this a few times, where like I could have written this in the sense of like, I'm not an experienced screenwriter. I make a lot of mistakes. And one of the big mistakes of like a beginning screenwriter is like saying everything instead of showing it, right? Like telling instead of showing. And like this movie is just people saying the things instead of illustrating them, whether it's like Goose yelling at him because he's being selfish, or like his sister being disappointed, or his dad being disappointed over and over again. Like they're all telling him constantly, like, this is how you are behaving. But he doesn't listen anyway. So like, it's just completely pointless. Yeah. So yeah, just kind of whatever. Let's do some bingo. Would you like to begin?
Sure. One hit wonder song.
There is a song.
Oh. I tuned it out.
It's like something girl. Hold on. Girl Thing by Anna Margaret.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
We need this, okay?
We do.
After subjecting ourselves to that movie. Okay.
Breaking the fourth wall or looking into the camera. Not that I noticed.
Yeah. Holiday themed.
Camporee.
Camporee.
Camporee. Clunky metaphor. Oh, God. The badges or something. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it was just a bad movie.
Yeah, that's fine.
Parents who just don't get it.
No, his dad gets it more than he does.
Would we count the mom parent, the 66?
No, she's the villain.
Okay. Oh, so true. Moms being the cliche villain. Okay.
Cool non-parent adult. I guess Mrs. J would count.
And the coach.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Okay. Someone too famous for a TV movie.
I don't think so. I mean, Deborah Mooney is probably the most famous person in this, but I don't think she was too famous for a TV
Yeah,
movie.
we could probably put her in became famous along with Doc McStuffins. Because I like to put when we have like a lot of character actors like in the became famous.
Yeah.
Because they all mush into one blob of fame.
Sure.
Okay.
Competition to resolve central problem. Kind of.
Yeah, there's kind of more than one. The badge competition and the hockey game.
Yeah.
A montage sequence. Wasn't there a couple?
Yeah. Well,
at least the one with the yard and the chores.
Well, and the badges too.
Yeah.
At the end.
Mm-hmm.
Cliche villain. Yep. The evil mom.
The
other team.
66 years old. Clothes or items you owned.
I was going to go grab it, but I have hockey sticks, plural.
No way, Val.
Yeah. I loved playing floor hockey when I was growing up.
Cool.
I used to go to the JCC after school every day, and I would play floor hockey. Actually, it's funny. My mom made me go to one day of brownies, and I hated it. And so I went and played with the boys and played floor hockey. So
what is a JCC?
Jewish Community Center, kind of like a
cool.
YMCA, but for Jewish kids. So like they had, after school care for,
cool.
Like the bus would go straight from, because I went to a Jewish school at the time. So like a bus would go straight from school to the JCC. So a bunch of us would go because a lot of people's parents worked. So
was that when you were still in the city or were you in the suburbs then?
Yeah. So the JCC was on like kind of near where you live. Actually, it wasn't too far from there.
Cool.
Yeah. Like near Belmont. In the lake.
Nice.
So yeah, we would take the bus from school and then we would, have there were different activities. There was just also like a room with like, I got really good at NBA jams because there were a couple of video games in there. Yeah, it was a fun time.
Cool.
Yeah. Did you have anything?
My family owned ice skates.
Yeah, I mean, mine did too, sure. Rotten Tomatoes, 40 to 60. I'm going to say what I hope this is, and that is 37.
52.
Yep, that's right.
Hey, but we get the box.
We do.
Happily Ever After. We can only hope that this man actually learned a lesson.
I know. I mean, he gets everything he wants despite being
a turd.
A complete jerk. Yeah. Almost kissing. I mean, they kiss, so yes.
And what do I say, Val?
An almost kiss, or a kiss had to start with an almost kiss.
Mm-hmm. In order to kiss, you have to almost kiss.
Mm-hmm. Someone who became famous. So if we're using the alley rule, then multiple people became moderately famous. So that means one person became very famous.
Doc McStuffins.
No, Doc McStuffins is very cool. I just don't know if I would qualify her as famous, right? Like we don't know who she is.
See, that's why I want to be a voice actor. You get the checks without the incessant paparazzi.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I agree completely with that.
Yeah. Betraying of one's real friends or values. He betrays everyone.
Movie. Yes.
Yeah.
The whole movie is him betraying his real friends.
Yeah.
Your childhood crush. No.
Obviously bad special effects or stunts.
No. And I would say that the practical effects of his makeup were excellent.
Great. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And the hockey looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he knows how to play and he did his own stunts.
Maybe. I mean, he was skating around with them when he was like teaching them.
Yeah, so he at least knows balance.
Yeah. Certainly better than I could ever do.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Channel star.
He was on Zeke and Luther.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And we had someone who was on Sunny with a Chance.
There were a couple people. I mean, they were on like a few episodes.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot of people who were on like one episode of Hannah Montana or something like that. But not like a, series regular or something like that.
How do you feel, Val?
I would say no.
Okay. Heard it here first. Musical number. No.
Magic. No.
Someone says the title of the movie. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Kind of.
He figures it out. The girls figure it out. But then what's next? The heroes create the problem.
100%.
Yeah.
He creates every problem.
Dick.
Lead is a fish out of water. I suppose at first he's a fish out of water.
I mean,
all the
kinda.
Scout stuff.
Yeah. Well, Val, surprise, surprise. We've got one bingo.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
Our
is
third line down, closer items you own, Rotten Tomatoes 40 to 60, happily ever after, almost kissing, and someone who became famous.
Well, there you go.
There you have it.
Thanks to the alley rule. We did it.
Yeah, the alley rule of if we have enough minor fames, they equal one big fame.
Well, great. At least we got something out of this.
Yay. Well, you know what that means. It's time for, Val.
A game.
A game. And this is Girl Scouts of Truth or Girl Scouts of Fake.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to say whether it's truth or fake.
Okay. Deal.
Okay. It's facts about the Girl Scouts.
Great, which I will know nothing. So let's do
okay.
it.
All right. The Girl Scouts were invented in 1912.
True.
That's correct, Val. 1912. Girl Scouts earn 2.5 million badges every year.
Ooh. True.
Fake. 3.8 million.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Wow. It's a lot of badges.
Wrong. Okay. 92% of female astronauts were Girl Scouts.
Well, it's either true or it's like 93%. True.
That's correct.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It is cool.
And then now they have like a program through NASA. The Girl Scouts have like a NASA science program.
Whoa.
I know.
So instead of space camp, you just become a Girl Scout.
Yeah. Okay. Around 500,000 girls sell cookies every year.
I'm going to guess it's 1 million girls. So false.
Correct and false. Wrong in the number. 700,000.
Okay.
But you still get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said fake. It's fake, Val. It's not false. It's fake. It's true. The game is truth or fake. All right. Last question. This was only 5 questions.
Okay.
Samoas are the most popular cookie that is sold.
Oof. I mean, like, I want to say it's Thin Mints because that's what everyone always talks about.
And for anyone wondering, a Samoa is like their coconut delight cookie.
Yeah, it's so good. It's my favorite. But coconut is kind of controversial. Like, not everybody likes coconut. I'm going to say fake.
That's correct, Val. It is Thin Mints. You trusted your gut and you were right. Congratulations. You got 92% correct.
Wow. Just like the percentage
astronauts.
Astronauts.
Yeah. Val, thanks for playing Girl Scouts of Truth or Girl Scouts of Fake.
Thank you for
We've never played a game like this before on this podcast.
Never, ever.
Never, ever is it trivia. Wow, Val. You know, we've texted a lot this week just because we have some scheduling to do and things like that. But I feel like I just missed seeing you.
I know.
I missed doing this.
Despite this movie being kind of stinky, this time was not.
For sure. And what are we watching next?
We are watching Camp Rock 2.
Ah! Love it. Can't wait.
It's going to be great.
Camp Rock.
Camp Rock.
Camp Rock.
She's so good.
She's really good.
Really good. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. She's a really
good. I wish they would make a shout out to that in the second movie, but I doubt they do.
No, probably not. Well, this has been a delight, and I look forward to doing Camp Rock 2. And I am glad we're back at it.
Yeah.
Everyone
has a task to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're back at it, so you need to also be back at it.
Thank you, Val.
Spread the word, write a review, share us on social medias, the whole shebang-a-bang.
Mm-hmm.
I know I said this last time we came back from break, but forgive me, I have a baby and moved. I am going to try to do better about being giving us more stuff to do on social media. So you'll have more stuff to share. But yeah, please, help us out. Help us reach more fun strangers who find us through their brothers-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Through their brothers-in-law, or through riding a car with me to the Honda Center because the bus wasn't coming. We want to have a lot of followers and listeners, and we want to talk more about the strangers that listen to us.
Yeah, and we want to hear from you about, your like what you think of stuff. So like hit us up,
and tell your mom.
Tell your mom. This is a mom-friendly podcast, except for when it's explicit.
Except for today, which was explicit. Linda, stop listening.
Now, stop listening.
Stop listening now. Actually, can you go back and rewind and just like unlisten to the podcast? Thanks, Linda. Awesome. Well, Val, I love you so much.
I love you so much.
And I don't know how many people end their podcasts by saying that they love each other. And I think that's really good of us.
I think it's great, especially because it's true.
It is true. One, I also, too, realize that I do tell almost everyone that I love them, but it doesn't mean that it's disingenuous.
No.
Is that the correct word?
Yes.
Because I only say it when I mean it.
That's right. It's always good to say it when you mean it, because you never know when you won't be able to say it anymore.
Wow, so true. Because if our microphones get taken away, then no one will ever know.
That's right.
That's the only way that you'll never be able to say it.
If people don't share us and keep this podcast alive, we'll never be able to tell each other.
How will they know?
How we love each other.
How will they know?
Yeah. Well, on that note.
Bye, Val.
Bye, Al. This podcast was produced by me.
And me.
And it was edited by me.
The music was composed by Michael McNally.
You can find us online at thetridentnetwork.com/dcommentaries-pod.
And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at dcommentaries.
Dcommentaries is a part of the Trident Network. To learn more about our videos, live shows, and other podcasts, please visit thetridentnetwork.com.
Disney Channel original movies.
Damn it, Allie.